You all have been such good sports about getting excited about the annual meeting with me, and I really appreciate that. And I actually love that we're hearing the Beatitudes alongside Annual Meeting Sunday. So, annual meeting, if you don't know what it is, or if you've been pretending you know what it is a requirement in our church. It's where we do some of the business and we elect people and all these things that being a legal entity require. But there's also an invitation in it, an invitation that some churches take and some don't, to do more than just the business, to do the work of celebrating, of looking at what we have done and looking at what is coming, of seeking out the blessings that are in our common life, of noticing and naming where the Spirit has been alive and where God has shown up. It is easy in our world and our lives to get pessimistic, to get sad and down, because very little supports a positive outlook these days. I mean, the news and media probably are not giving you the bright and shiny outlook one might want or need. The world is hard and scary. Things are tough. It is hard to be people who look for hope and who look for blessings. But that is who we are as Christians. People who believe in blessings being present and alive in our world, and that look for the blessings that are around us. Now, the Beatitudes, I think, can be a story, not a story, but a parable, a moment with Jesus, whether we're looking at the Sermon on the Plains or the Sermon on the Mount, like we hear. This shows up twice, okay? And in each version, it gives us this idea of the blessed among us. Now, sometimes we can hear that story and wonder, but what about me? Where do I fit into this? Where is my blessing? How am I honored and loved by God? And you know, it's not a terrible take, but it does get us caught into this individualism. The invitation of the Beatitudes is to recognize and to see and name blessings and the blessed among us, to give thanks that even in the most difficult or extraordinary of times, God's blessing, God's light, God's presence is there, especially in the least among us. In our challenging and difficult times in the world, in difficult and challenging times as a community, we've been in transition now for 2 years. There are still blessings, and we are still blessed. We are blessed by the presence of so many within our community who show up and speak out, who bless us with their presence and their wisdom, with the giving of their time and time and time, and the extraordinary talents of our community. We are blessed in the smallest and the biggest of ways by our encounters of one another and our encounters of God. One of the things I give so much thanks for in this community is that it is so rarely an energy of, well, what about me? But instead, a celebration of how God shows up in the whole of us, in the community of us. We are a people knit together in our relationships and in what we create when we are together. We are people who know and believe that there are blessings of God around us, and we seek and we name it, even when the world is scary and hard. It is one of the things I find as I encounter friends who are atheists and non-practicing of spirituality, who, as they fall into the pessimism of what we are facing in our world, are challenged by the audacious hope to believe that something good could still be there, that God has not abandoned us, that the blessed are among us if we open our eyes, that God's blessings are not absent, and we seek out not where can God bless me, but where can I find God's blessing already present in the least among us, in the hungry and the unhoused, in the peacemakers and the radicals, in the quiet resistance and the loving community. Blessed are, blessed are, blessed are. Jesus tells us over and over a message of hope in dark and challenging times. As a community, we have gone through so much transition. As I worked on my annual report for you all, I was like, wow, what a year we have had. We said goodbye to our dear Lynn Markova, which we knew we would, but still, we tried to keep her. We said goodbye to our deacon Pat after a long ministry. We have lost a number of beloved members in the past year. There is much to grieve, but still the blessings are abundant and mighty, that we could open our door so many nights to those who needed a place to sleep when it was cold out, to the people who have showed up at one another's bedsides after surgeries or heartbreak or loss, to the cake that is always there to feed us and bring us joy. Blessed are, blessed are, blessed are. There are exponential blessings in the community of St. Dunstan's. And in the Beatitudes, we are invited to keep our eyes open, to ask not what about me, but what about them? Where can I go and find where God already is and receive that blessing? Which I know so many of you do as you show up on Tuesdays and Sundays and every other day of the week, whether it's to open our doors for neighbors who need a place to meet and coordinate, whether it's making space for our recovery groups, whether it's just being here on a Sunday for someone who needs a little bit more time to chat before they go home. We are blessed even in the midst of our difficult times. And we are a blessing to the community around us. Now, we may be quiet about telling our story sometimes, but when I encounter people in the world and say that I am here, they're always like, oh, St. Dunstan's. They're so great for Shoreline. They're such a great asset to our community. We have blessed the community around us, and they have blessed us in return. As we look towards the year ahead, as we look at what unfolds around us, and even as we grieve the hard and difficult times, the transition and the loss, let us not lose sight of God's blessing and God's hope. We get to baptize a new child of God today and welcome them into our community, which, it's like the best part of the job. Hope is always here, and it shows up in these audacious and wild places. What a gift for us to look forward into our future with this gift of baptism as the backbone of what we do, to see the hope that God lays at our feet and the hope that we can carry with us into the world. Amen.